What if I told you that some words aren't just symbols on a page, that they're actually tiny, hidden stories just waiting to be unpacked? Well, today we're going to do exactly that. We're diving into a single Chinese character that holds a world-famous story right inside its strokes.
So I want you to look at this character not as a word, but as a puzzle. It's a little mystery written in just a few lines, and our job, together, is to crack the code and find the story hidden inside.
Okay, here it is. This is the character Luo. Take a second and just look at it. What famous story do you think could possibly be hiding in there? Any ideas popping into your head? It's okay if you're drawing a blank. That's kind of the point. We're about to solve this thing piece by piece.
Right. So, with any good puzzle, the first thing you do is look at all the pieces you have to work with. Let's break this character down into its basic parts and see what clues we can dig up.
It's really made of two main components. Over on the left, we've got this symbol, which is the radical for clothing, and on the right, well, that character is guo, and it literally just means fruit.
Okay, hold on. Clothing and fruit. What in the world is the connection here? I mean, it seems totally random, right? But it's not. This strange combination is actually where the story really gets interesting. Believe it or not, the key to this whole puzzle is an ancient and incredibly famous story from the Book of Genesis. Yep, we're talking about the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
And it all comes down to this one sentence. Think about it. They ate the fruit, there's our first clue, and they knew that they were naked. In other words, without clothes. Both of our puzzle pieces are right there in that single line. Let's see how this plays out.
So you can think of the story in three simple acts. Act 1 is the temptation. They eat the forbidden fruit, our character Guo. Act 2 is the big realization. They suddenly notice they have no clothing, our clothing radical. And that leads right to Act 3, the consequence, that feeling of shame that comes with being naked. The two key objects from the story are literally the building blocks.
Okay, now that we have the story to guide us, we can do the really cool part. We can finally put the puzzle back together and see exactly how the story builds the character.
We start with the consequence of the story, that sudden realization that they are without clothing. So first, we put down our clothing radical. And what was the catalyst for that realization? What caused it all? It was eating the fruit. So we'll add the character for fruit right next to it.
And there you have it. Clothing plus fruit gives us our final character, Luo. You see? The story isn't just a clever way to remember the character. The story is the character. It's incredible.
So what does Luo mean? Well, the simple dictionary definition is naked or bare, but now you and I know a much deeper, richer definition. It's the state of being without clothing that happens after eating the fruit. It's the entire Adam and Eve narrative, elegantly packed into one single symbol. Now, this is more than just a neat piece of trivia. What we just did actually demonstrates a really powerful learning technique. It shows us why our brains are just naturally wired to remember stories.
See, a good story creates these really strong mental hooks. It takes something abstract, like a complex character, and anchors it to a concrete idea we already understand, like a famous story. And that connection makes it practically unforgettable, because you're not just memorizing random lines anymore, you're remembering a narrative.
So all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. If a story this big can be tucked away inside a single character, what other amazing stories are hiding in plain sight in the words we see and use every single day?